Oh, hey guys, welcome back to another incredible episode of the Boston Chris podcast. Oh man, this one was tough for me, y'all. I am a huge fan of Kelly Willis. Huge, have been for 20 some odd years. And this has been a long time coming to get to pick the brain of one of the finest songwriters, artists, musicians, etc. of the past 30 years. Having Kelly Willis on the show is a watershed moment for me as an interviewer, and I just want to thank Kelly so much for taking the time to chat with us today. If you guys are coming to the show for the first time, make sure you're hitting the like button. That helps us out so much. And of course, if you want to see more in-depth, candid interviews with some of your favorite artists from anywhere, make sure you hit that subscribe or follow button. And comment down below your favorite part of this episode today. Let me tell you a little bit more about Kelly in case you didn't know. On some other plane out there in the great big multiverse, Kelly Willis could well be the biggest Nashville country music star of the last 35 years. But things panned out rather differently for her here on this earth. The Oklahoma-born Army brat was barely into her early 20s and still cutting her teeth fronting a spunky rockabilly band in Austin when a check this kid out tip from Texas songwriter Nancy Griffith landed her on the radar of legendary producer Tony Brown, who promptly signed her to MCA Records. How exactly her auspicious fireball of a debut, 1990s well-traveled love, and even a plum spot on the soundtrack to the following year's Thelma and Louise movie somehow failed to burn Willis's name and voice into the mainstream consciousness remains a bone of bumfuzzlement for many a fan and critic to this day. But suffice it to say, Willis was still in her early 20s when MCA dropped her just 2 albums later. And that, perhaps goes the Kelly Willis story in yet another alternate universe, was that. But lucky again for all of us here in this reality, our Kelly Willis was just getting started. Liberated from the Nashville playbook and emboldened by a jolting shot of nothing left to lose, she set about making her next record in Austin her way. The end result, 1999's aptly titled What I Deserve, changed everything. And we chatted about this and so much more from that blurb from the Grand Ole Opry with Kelly Willis today. You guys will not believe how candid and honest this interview was with Kelly Willis. I can't wait for y'all to see it. So without any further ado, this old man is going to stop talking and we're just going to get right to it.
It's time to jam. It's time to mingle. It's time to see what everyone's drinking. It's time to jam. It's time to mingle. It's time to see what everyone's drinking. Until we all lose connection.
Hi, this is Mike Aiken. This is Amy Aiken.
Thanks for tuning in to the Boston Chris Show.
All right, hey guys, it's been a long time coming that I get to talk to this young lady right here. This is Kelly Willis, y'all. If you don't know who she is, of course you do. But, man, I've been such a big fan of your work for as long as I can remember. Thank you so much for doing this.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I'm really flattered. Thank you.
So I put out a wish list once a month, and you were on my wish list a few months ago, and I think it was through Threads that we finally connected, of all places. And,
Yes, that is kind of my random, a place that I forget when I post on Instagram that it automatically goes there.
yeah, I
and
like it there. It's cool on Threads, right? I mean,
is.
yeah, it's kind of a different atmosphere over there, and I feel like people can tell stories a little bit better over there than just on Instagram.
Yeah, it's like I used to prefer Twitter
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I just like being able to write, and so I miss Twitter, but it's kind of like a nice blend of.
Yeah, Threads is kind of a blend between Twitter and Facebook, kind of, right? In the middle, yeah. I feel you, and I just love that you're able to say what you want on there for the most part. I have an icebreaker question I have to ask because it's part of the theme song of ours, but what are your favorite drinks right now?
I just did this gig up in White Sulphur Springs, Montana, at the Red Ants Pants Festival.
What a great name, first of all.
Yeah, it's a great festival run by this great group of women, and they had this brand. I think I can't remember the brand, but it's like it's kind of like a Bailey's thing called Orphan Girl.
Okay.
And I guess because Gillian Welch and David Rawlings were headlining it, they got this Orphan Girl. They mixed it with root beer. It's just a really sweet little treat, and that was kind of fun. But honestly, obviously, I don't really drink if that's the drink that I'm going to mention, because
Yeah.
it's
Well,
not really.
it's pretty cool when you uncover something, though, right? Like something new,
Yeah.
especially at our age. I feel like for me, like I just started drinking coffee. I'm almost 50 years old, and I've
Oh,
been drinking coffee about a year and a half, and man, I love it now. I feel so bad that it took me this long to enjoy it.
it's kind of addictive. Yeah.
Yeah, and I hold myself to just one cup a day just to get started, and because I've seen the addictive nature of that. Let's talk a little bit about growing up. You're from the Lawton, Oklahoma area, right? Originally.
Well, that's where I was born. My
Okay.
dad was in the Army, and my family is from Oklahoma, a little town called Sentinel in the southwest corner.
Okay.
But I'm an Army brat, so I didn't grow up there. But that's a lot of Army brats. We can only claim our parents' hometown. It's the only anchor we can really
Hmm.
give. But we still didn't grow up there, so it's a very strange question to answer. Is where are you from? But
Yeah, it's funny. I'm also an Army brat, but I was lucky in that my dad kind of got that out of his system before I came along. So
oh,
yeah, so by the time I came along, he was really just National Guard and Army Reserve. So he was kind of in one spot, just the two weekends a year or 2 weeks a year, and 1 weekend a month. So what was that like as a kid? Just getting used to new areas and new people over and over again.
Um, well, I also was the youngest in my family, so by the time I came along, my dad could choose to stay places longer. So
Okay.
I ended up staying at Fort Bragg, North Carolina, from kindergarten through sixth grade, which is kind of unheard of. We did move around to different houses and places during that time, but I didn't have to do it as much as my older brother and sister, and a
Yeah,
lot of brats have to do.
and Carolina
Um,
had kind of an impact on you as well, right?
oh, for sure. Yeah, that feels like my childhood is North Carolina. And then I moved from seventh grade to 12th grade into Northern Virginia near DC.
Yeah.
And so that was my, teenage years.
I mean, it's pretty much North Carolina, right?
Yep. Although I did get made fun of for having an accent when I moved to the DC area.
Really, to Virginia, they made fun of you for having an
Oh,
accent.
yeah. Apparently it was thick.
Wow. Yeah. See, I was in Norfolk when I was in the Navy, so I don't really remember hearing like different accents from the area. And Norfolk is kind of like right there between Virginia and North Carolina, right there on the border. So,
Yeah, I just played Norfolk with
yeah.
with the Wonder Women. We just had a show.
Yeah. You guys will be in Texas soon, I think. So I'm excited about that. Yeah. So one thing I've read about you is that really the impact of your mom was really the most influential on you getting started in music, right? Like, tell us about that and kind of how she introduced you to the music world.
Well, my mom was an actress. She did musical theater and played the piano, and was just sort of the nurturing, silly part of the family, with my dad being this, tough Army guy.
Yeah.
So
So mom
when he
kept it light, essentially.
she did
Yeah.
so when he would be away, um, she was doing these plays, and I would read lines with her, and I'd go to practice with her or rehearsal with her, and watch that world. And so just seeing it made me realize it was something you could do with your life. Like that was an option.
Yeah.
I mean, my dad divorced when I was 9, so she moved away. So she was out of the picture after that, but that time from 9 and under, she definitely influenced me in that way.
And I mean, the divorce kind of influenced you musically too, because you kind of turned towards music as therapy from that time, right?
Sure. I mean, not intentionally, but I just remember as a kid. So on the Army base, we got HBO like early. We had the 3 channels that everyone had,
Yeah.
and then we had HBO, which was crazy. And but on HBO, like that Buddy Holly movie was out on
Okay,
it,
yeah.
and I watched that. I was just a grade school kid, and I watched it so many times and sobbed every time, and I fell in love with Gary Busey.
Hmm.
who I thought was Buddy Holly, but
Yeah, that movie impacted me too. Yeah, big time.
yeah,
So even to this day, I'm a huge Buddy Holly fan. Like,
yes,
yeah.
and that got me interested in kind of rockabilly music, and just for sure was a big pull.
Yeah, a lot of folks may not know that you were in a rockabilly band early on, right?
Yeah, that was my first love.
So
was rock.
that's all from that movie then, huh?
Well, it definitely was the start, but I didn't see an opportunity to be in a band until I started dating a drummer. So, and I wasn't singing or doing anything, but he sat me down and helped me kind of develop a singing voice. Like I sang a little, but I didn't do it in front of people.
Right.
I liked singing, but I kind of assumed I would pursue acting, just because that's what my mom did. But I was not good at acting. So
Right.
luckily I met this drummer, and he kind of coached me into singing.
Looking back, do you think those times, like before 9 and before, when you remember your mom and helping your mom rehearse, do you think those times in your life helped you be an entertainer later on?
Absolutely. Yeah, it was so great to see the camaraderie that was going on backstage, and to see even the playfulness between the director and the actors, and when he would correct them or suggest something else, and just to see something develop over time and into a show, having seen it all broken down and all the messy, ugly pieces.
Yeah.
I for sure was fascinated with show business of some sort.
Yeah, I imagine it would help you, especially if you're pretty much an introverted person. Like, a lot of songwriters are very introverted. And then if you're a performing songwriter, you have to be extroverted for 2 hours or however long it is. So you're essentially playing a part. You're a different person for those 2 hours or whatever. So imagine that those experiences definitely probably helped you quite a bit in those times. You mentioned dating a drummer. When was this? Was this like late teens, early 20s, or?
Yeah, let's see. I think I was a year young for my grade, but it was my senior year, and I turned 17 my senior year. So
the
17.
So the drummer helped you find your voice, but like when do you think music kind of became more than a hobby, or like something that you could see yourself doing, so to speak?
That same year, because
Wow.
his band kind of broke up. He was in a band called the Vibrato Brothers, and they dissolved and were reforming and needed a singer. And so we went to one of those little booths on the beach where you could
Yeah.
record yourself singing
God,
a
I
song.
remember those too, man. Yeah.
We went in, and I did Teddy Bear, an Elvis Presley song, and we used it to play for the other musicians to see if they would be okay with me being the singer. And they said, okay. But listen, I was so shy. Like, I had severe social phobia, so I could barely talk. And pre-recording that was good for me, because I'm sure I would have had a hard time
Yeah, so like performance anxiety was part of your thing at first. So how do you get over that? Like, at first, because that's a huge culture shock. When you all of a sudden, like, you can love singing all you want, but all of a sudden you got these people that are watching you while you're doing it. Man, that's a huge
Yeah.
difference.
Yeah, it was really hard. And I was terrified for years and years. But I kind of think it was immersion therapy where
Yeah,
I was terrified and miserable for so long. And then eventually realized that like everything that could go wrong had gone wrong at some point, where you trip on stage or forget words or anything. And then that you survived it.
yeah,
And so it just gets less scary. Um, yeah. And then honestly, working with other people is what made me start to have fun because for the longest time, I was just trying to hit the notes. I was just worried about singing perfectly or something. And when I played with other people, I started to see how it could be fun.
yeah.
And that singing perfectly was not what people liked or cared about. And that it was more about, I remember thinking about like Mick Jagger. Like, he's not singing perfectly.
No.
Nobody cares. So that's not what it's about. And so to figure out how to just share the story and the emotion of the song and also be in that moment with the other musicians just playing a song.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there I began to have more fun.
Was there a dislike of your own voice there too?
Not at the time. Now when I listen to my voice back then I have a hard time with it, but no, but I might have really been I did struggle to sing perfect or in key all the time. That
Yeah.
I was still my skills weren't really developed, but
So it's just about getting around other people and letting loose, and then once you're around other people, you're not thinking as much, right? So then you can just kind of let loose, and whatever comes, right? Is that essentially what happened for you?
yeah, it was like specifically like when I started performing with my ex-husband Bruce Robison, and I got to share the stage with him, share back and forth singing, who's singing the lead, who's singing the harmony, and then his material was different than mine, and he had a lot of these kind of fun honky-tonk songs. So I guess getting to step inside somebody else's vibe was what helped me to relax, and then I got to take some of that with me when I would go do my solo stuff.
Yeah.
Just
I love that answer. That is such a cool way of looking at things. One thing I'd love to chat about, being an Army brat myself and having talked to other creative people that have moved around a lot, how do you feel like that impacted your creativity as a kid? Like, being able to adjust to new surroundings, meeting new people, forming new relationships. I imagine all of that had an impact on your creativeness too, right?
Yeah, I guess maybe just in that I wasn't afraid to move away. Like I was eager to move to Austin. I moved to Austin right out of high school to pursue, to be in a band. And that didn't seem wild to me to do something like that.
Yeah, just no fear of just packing up and trying something new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't have any deep roots anywhere, so it was not that big a deal to go somewhere else.
Just so that I'm following the career path a little bit, you ended up in Austin, then you went to Nashville, and then back to Austin. Is that how it worked out?
I never lived in Nashville, but I made records there. I always lived in Austin.
Okay.
So I did move to Austin, and then within like a year and a half of living in Austin, I got that record deal. And so I went and made records up there, but I never moved up there, which was kind of controversial at the time because they want all of their acts to live there and be part of that community. And
all in. They wanted you to be all in.
And I did not. I didn't feel comfortable with that. I wanted to be an Austin person.
Wow, yeah,
I really counted and trusted the Austin like community. Like I really felt like I needed my music to be respected by my Austin peers, and that I didn't feel like I could trust the Nashville people. Like I trusted the Austin people. And so I did have one foot in each world.
Was there kind of were you kind of looking at how things were in Nashville? Because back in those times in Nashville, it was kind of shifting a little bit from the country world into more of a edgy kind of style with, you know, the advent of people like Garth Brooks and Shania Twain and, you know, Keith Urban. Was that part of the reason for kind of keeping your roots grounded in Austin, just in case the Kelly Willis that Texas knew wasn't the Kelly Willis that Nashville wanted?
I don't know. I was still so young, and I wasn't a fully formed artist yet. You know, I was part of a band. It was Kelly Willis and Radio Ranch. We were like a band, and I was just the singer. And so but I was the only one that they signed. But they let us, you know, still record that first album as a band. When they knew full well that, you know, that the shit would hit the fan and we would dissolve.
Yeah,
you know, they were counting on it. But I don't know. I just I didn't think I was a country singer, really.
Yeah.
You know, and so it was just, but they had just done like, that Dwight Yoakam had been so successful, and Steve Earle and Lyle Lovett and Nancy Griffith and Roseanne Cash. There were these people that were country, but they were also
edgy. Yeah, the edgy.
Appealed to more than a country audience. So like with some real like poetry to what they were doing. Not that traditional country music doesn't have that poetry, but it was just a little different. And I felt like, well, maybe I can be a part of that. And at that time they were, you know, experimenting and trying that stuff. But right as I came in, all of those artists were being pushed out onto like the LA or New York versions of MCA or
to make room for the artists I was talking about earlier. They were just completely shifting away from things that people could resonate with. That's just my own opinion. You know, Clint Black is another one who was pretty traditional at the time, came up the same year as Garth Brooks, and I mean, Clint was really overshadowed, and he shouldn't have been, in my opinion. But, do you feel like if you were all in, things would have changed, would have been a little different for you?
No, because I was really, really, like I said, my social phobia was intense, and there was no way that I could be the kind of performer that they needed me to be. I could not be Reba or any of those people. I just wasn't skilled enough to do that. And, you know, I remember doing these radio tours, radio visits with like the promoter from MCA. And I would get home at the end of the night after having visited 3 radio stations or something and taken one of them to dinner. I'd get to my hotel room and just sob because it was so hard for me. It was so unnatural and I was so awkward. I just didn't have the skills to do what they wanted me to do.
Yeah, the commercial side of things, right? Selling yourself, right? Essentially. I mean, that's really hard.
Being like an entertainer with personality and wit, you know, I just couldn't do any of it. I was terrified.
Yeah. And I mean, a lot of people, that's just on demand and they can call it up, you know, it's just there.
Yeah,
and
that's so impressive.
Yeah, it truly is, right? It truly is. When did songwriting kind of find you? When was the start of that?
Well, I had written a few songs here and there during the my MCA years, but it wasn't until I got dropped from MCA, like in '93 or '4, that I started really trying to write. And I'll tell you, it was because there had Lucinda Williams record. I think she had the Big Red Sun record that she'd made it, and then maybe it didn't get released or something. But everyone in Austin had it. And I loved it so much. And I remember thinking, she's got a really unique sound that's all her own.
Yeah.
And I had been making these records in Nashville, and they'd been trying to teach me to, write songs with these big co-writers and stuff. In my mind, every song was supposed to be a hit song. And of course, that was just a huge block to think that every time I wrote, it had to be a hit.
Yep.
But I remember listening to Lucinda's stuff and thinking, it does not have to be a hit. It just has to be uniquely true. Mm-hmm. You can have your own, freaky little thing, and it can be unlike anyone else's. And that freed me to start trying to write.
I love that. So, like, you learn to be honest with yourself, first of all, and then I feel like on top of that, because of that honesty, you can kind of find your own version of success with each song, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. To your own version of success is huge.
Yeah.
Because, even to this day, sometimes I'll run into somebody who will be like, didn't you used to be a country singer? Or somebody who will think that my goals are something that I never reached, and not knowing that I feel extremely successful. Like
exactly. Yeah.
My version of success is just different than what other people's version is. So.
It's so weird to define your own success based on what another person says. It's just so weird to me, man. Like, you can't tell me when I've had a successful episode. Only I can determine that, right? Like,
right.
It's crazy to even think about, but I feel like human beings are just so, analytical nowadays, and well, not just nowadays, but it's been that way in the music business for as long as there's been music, it seems. But just that struggle between commercialism and staying true, that honesty that we were talking about, is just so sad, because it's so hard to stay honest and then have what everybody else deems success, right? Yeah. Being ultimately commercial, like the Chris Stapleton. Like, Chris has got it going on. He's completely honest. He's got integrity in his art, and he's successful as heck with the numbers as well. I think that's what everybody's striving to be. I wanted to chat with you because you talked about having written a couple of songs when you were with MCA. I would just like to say, I think one of your best songs with MCA was one that you wrote.
Which one?
Baby, Take a Piece of My Heart. I mean...
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I personally think that was probably your best song in the 3 records with MCA. I'd love to hear how the song came to be, if you don't mind telling the story.
Well, I know I had a little piece of a song, and then I got together with this guy, Costas, who was like Nashville's darling at the time. Very enamored with him and enchanted by him because he was so unique and so prolific, and his songs were really fun. And he was I think he lived in Bozeman maybe. So he really seemed, like a mystery to everybody. But we sat down and finished that song together pretty quickly. And I was still a very new writer. So it was a little bit scary. But what was interesting to me about that song is when we went into the studio to record it, the first attempt we made at it sounded a lot like Tambourine Man. Hey, Mr. Tambourine. Yeah. Something about it was really heavy, and I thought it's too similar. So we completely recut it, and then we came out. It was like this larger than life, like radio hit sounding thing, and that made me equally uncomfortable. Like It really also scared me. But then we just went with it, and then I did a video for it where I'm in like 8 outfits. Yep. I'm in the water. I'm on the side of a mountain. And that really made me uncomfortable because I was like, I don't know, this is not something the Blasters would do, like I wanted to be, part of that like edgier, cool world. And then I remember my manager saying, "You're just afraid of success, Kelly." And I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, am I afraid of success?" Like, I started to question it, but I wasn't afraid of success. I was just afraid of being labeled something that I wasn't,
Right.
or
Yeah.
being committed to something that I couldn't follow through on, like,
It's like playing a part, right?
yeah.
You were just playing a part.
Yeah. And it was a really fun, exciting time to be on a major label and to have, hair and makeup teams and people, like making videos with you, and all of that stuff was above my pay grade, out of, over my head. I didn't know how to do any of that. So I was really at the mercy of these people. And I was also hugely benefiting from all of that. But it was just a lot for my young, green,
And so
mind.
it's funny, we talk about the definition of success, and a lot of folks looking over your life would say that was the most successful time of your career.
Right.
But having
No.
having seen what you've done since then from a Texas perspective, because I'm in Northeast Texas, in case you didn't know. I would say since you came back to Texas and became an artist here, since then has been the most successful you have been as an artist. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. I look at the Nashville years as this foundation, like having gone to college or something, where I got to work with all these people and do all this really incredible stuff that allowed me to have a career now, to have the kind of career that I really want to have, and to be able to be a part of the musical world that I really want to be a part of. That was a dream. I mean, when I was first starting in that Rockabilly band, the biggest my dream got was that I would be that I could be big and successful in a region.
Mm-hmm.
I could have a regional following and do very well there. So, like, I had not really ever thought beyond that, like, other than, fantasy of like, oh, and then, then
So
I'm the
then,
next.
I mean, things just sped up like crazy for you. Like, yeah.
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 And I was not a solo artist. So I had to become one
Yeah.
while making records on a major label in Nashville.
Well,
So,
I gotta say, man, it's just the attitude of an artist after they've left Nashville, coming from Kelly Willis with an album title "What I Deserve." I gotta say, as a fan of yours, that's tongue in cheek, right? That is kind of a shot across Nashville's bow. Am I right or wrong?
yeah, it was. It was also that song only has one little part in it that is about my years in Nashville, and it's the bridge where I say, "I've done the best I can, but what I've done is not who I am." So that part was about Nashville, but the rest of it was more about just personal growth and
Yeah.
and life, and being so raw and easily rattled,
Yeah.
and trying to be strong in the face of it all. But yeah, I did when I did title it that, I there was a person who had an executive producer who had put up some money, and he was like, "Oh, you can't call it that," thinking that it sounded arrogant or something. And I was like, I just really think that it's, I mean, maybe a little bit, of a thumbing my nose at Nashville, but also it feels like that is the heart and soul of this album, and that's what it should be called.
Well, it's taken a stand too, right? Like, just artistically, you're basically cutting off that part of your life, and you're letting them know with that title, I don't
Yeah.
intend to come back, and I'm okay with that. So,
Right.
just we need to see other people, essentially, right?
Yeah. Well, God, my dream at that time was, I really wished that no one had any preconceived idea of me. That was the burden of having been given that amazing gift of being able to make records in Nashville. The burden of it was that I seemed like something everybody knew what it was already. And
So this is kind of a reimagining of Kelly Willis, or rather,
well,
the
my last gesture, I thought I'll never get to make another record. I want to have made the record that is my true creative expression, and then I can walk away. Then I can say, because I didn't want to be, just judged for what I did in my Nashville years, which I'm proud of. But I wanted to have really finally been the artist that I was trying to be, and then be like, okay, if nobody likes it, I at least feel like I did it, I got it out, and now I can move on.
So you made the record with a sense of urgency, essentially. Would you say that?
I did.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because, I mean, in your mind, this was the finality of your career. This is what your swan song was going to be. And here we are 25 years later. We're on the 25th anniversary of this incredible record. I got to tell you, as a fan, this record right here is one of the best listens of all time.
Oh, my God.
Like, straight up, honest to God, just incredible stuff. And I want people, if you have a moment in time, not just listen to the record, but I'm one of those nerds. I'm a liner note nerd, right? So, like, it's so hard to find liner notes nowadays, but thank God there's Wikipedia. So, like, I can go on Wikipedia, see the liner notes of a record. And, man, I just love the folks you got to work with on this record. Just top notch all the way around. First of all, can you believe it's been 25 years since this album?
No. That's so weird to be able to say anything's been 25 years.
Yeah.
That you've been doing something. But on stage, I always joke that, of course, it's not even my oldest record. I have 3 older ones. So it's wild. Yeah.
And, you've got newer records too, and that was supposed to be the last one, right? So things worked out okay. And that's why I say, definition of success, that was her final record, right?
Right. But, and that one, it sold, so each of my MCA records maybe sold about 15,000 copies each. And then that one, I sold about 100,000. So outperformed all my MCA records combined. So it was just like nothing I would have dreamed.
And it's crazy what a little honesty will do, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Love that stuff. Let's talk about songwriting some more. How do you get into that space, right? Because there's all different ways to be creative in the songwriting world. Some people are ready all the time. Are you one of those folks that just takes things in? Are you more planned or spontaneous, or how does it work for you?
No, I guess I wait for inspiration, which is not great. But then I'll have just little ideas that I will sit and work on for a long time, and then let them sit, and then work on them again. And with what I Deserve record, I remember having songs. I'd have like 3/4 written, but I just didn't trust that it was good or that it was right, or I would just feel a little stuck, and would find a co-writer. I found Gary Louris, and he would just, bring something to it that would, totally elevate it and finish it and make it a complete song. And so I really, in the early days, leaned on people to help me do that. But now, then I went through a big phase where I just wanted to write it by myself, because co-writing is such an intimate thing. And
Indeed.
Naturally, even if I have come out of my shell, I'm still naturally awkward. That's my default mode. So I if I could not co-write, I would prefer that. So I started writing by myself a little more. But now I've come back around to enjoying co-writing, and I've observed other people who are great songwriters noticing that they co-write a lot. And they've told me that they really rely on that energy from other people.
Yeah, it's that fresh perspective on an old idea, essentially, right? Like you could have, like you just said, you could have 3/4 of a song written, and then, you know, that person just brings it in and makes it perfect, right? I mean,
Yes,
yeah,
puts does, and we'll do something that will, even go back and maybe redefine the other verses that were already written. Like there'll just be something where you just wouldn't have been able to do that on your own. You wouldn't have come up with that little thing. And so it's okay. And it's actually I think some of the best stuff gets written when two people come together and bring their different magic to something.
well, you mentioned how vulnerable and how powerful it is just to keep a song for yourself. How hard is it for you to be trusting in that kind of relationship to bring in somebody new? Do you have to be friends with that person and formulate a relationship beforehand?
No, wouldn't say I had to, no, but it helps a lot because then
Sure.
you just feel safer. But I don't know. What was the beginning of your question?
Yeah, I was just wondering about, because you were mentioning how songwriting is so personal to you, and then like bringing in a co-writer, how trusting or how hard it is to be trusting, to bring in somebody with something so personal.
You know what I think? I think you have to not feel so precious about your ideas.
Yeah,
Like I think I feel very protective of them for a certain segment of my life. And now I have to just trust that, yeah, this is kind of a good idea. And if we try to write it and it's not good, that's okay. Let it go. And another good idea will come along.
Yeah.
Like you have to just not worry about whether or not you will end up writing some great song together
Yeah.
with your precious idea.
it's about
You
leaving
just-
your ego at the door, right?
What?
About leaving your ego at the door, essentially.
Yeah, leave your ego at the door, and then you got to not worry about it, and trust that another idea will come, and you just have to dive in and do it.
Yeah. Good stuff, man. Let's chat a little bit about the song "Back Being Blue." Tell us about this one.
Back Being Blue. So I had not made a solo record in a long time. I'd been making records with my ex-husband, Bruce Robison.
Yeah, 10 years, right? In between solo records when
Yeah.
this came out. Yeah.
Yeah. And I had been trying to write songs like What I Deserve, like these kind of intimate journal entry, maybe complicated, emotional stories.
What a great way to put it. Journal entry. I love that. Yeah.
But they just weren't very good. They weren't coming together. And so I decided to give myself the assignment of let's do something the opposite. Let's try to write something that is universal and maybe go for like something that has more of a timeless feel, like you might not know what era it came from. And so just having that little shift, that little assignment to try to write like something else, that song came and I finished it. And I never shared songs with Bruce. Like we just don't do that. We write our songs and then we perform them, but we don't we didn't used to play them for each other and get each other's approval or something. But I was so excited with it after I finished it. I sent it to him and he was excited by it too. And it inspired that whole album. I decided that I was going to keep trying to write like that. And so, yeah.
So did the song propel you to record the record?
Yeah, it did, because then I started to have more songs and I was so excited to record that one
Yeah.
that I needed to get another 9 songs together. You know
So,
what I mean?
essentially the song brought Kelly Willis, the solo artist, back
Yeah.
to the world. That's incredible stuff, man. So excited to show you all this live version of Back Being Blue by Kelly Willis. Who, by the way, you mentioned Roseanne Cash earlier. This song kind of has that Roseanne Cash kind of vibe to it, I feel.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I love that. I hope
Yeah.
so.
Yeah. All right.
My baby let me go. He called me on the phone. He said I ought to know he wasn't there alone. She's back in my baby's arms and I'm back being blue. Back being blue. He said it was a sign their love's still so strong. After all this time, how can that be wrong? Oh, now she's back in my baby's arms and I'm back being blue. She's back in my baby's arms and I'm back being blue. He said our love was one to be proud of, but wasn't the same as their love. That was oh such a rare love and couldn't be tamed. Oh, now she's back in my baby's arms and I'm back being blue. She's back in my baby's arms and I'm back being blue. Back in blue. Back being blue.
Yeah. All right. So we are back with Kelly Willis for the first time on the show. Man, again, thank you so much for taking some time. Let's talk a little bit about Bruce and your years with him. And, of course, I mean, probably nobody with a bigger impact on your career professionally, too, right? So talk a little bit about the impact from him on your music and your writing, because obviously he's a fabulous writer as well, right? So
He's still my favorite writer. And I did 2 of his songs on What I Deserve, Wrapped and Not Forgotten You, which they are 2 of my, I think 2 of the strongest songs on that record. But I always felt a connection to his songs. And I always felt like I brought something different to them than what he, the songwriter, was doing with them. And so it was fun for me to get my hooks in those songs. I loved them so much. Yeah,
I love your version of Wrapped, by the way. It's such an ear hole. I've been singing it all frickin' week.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's great.
Go ahead. Sorry.
It's a really great song. That song was never a single for me, but I remember playing certain rooms with it when that record came out. And that song, I could feel it lift the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
Like it had something special. But yeah, Bruce and I, we supported each other a lot and learned a lot from each other. And I would bring him out on the road with me before he ever was a solo artist, and he and I would do like duo shows together, which I never did, but I could with him. And we tried for years we liked being solo artists. We never meant to be a duo, and we kind of held it at arm's length as long as we possibly could. And then we started doing these Christmas shows, and they were so fun that we just couldn't resist. We would get asked to do private parties, and we would do more and more gigs together. And then we finally were just like, let's just do this. Let's just make an album together. And we did. And it's one of my favorite. The first one we did together, Cheater's Game, is one of my favorite things I've ever done. But the thing with being in a duo and being in a married duo is that we kind of gave each other roles that we were allowed to be.
Okay.
And, like jobs, and I was the singer and the set list maker, like I had certain things, but he was the songwriter. And so that part of being in that duo, we didn't intentionally mean to like limit ourselves, but for that period of time, I felt like a singer and not a songwriter.
Yeah.
So, you got to be careful with those little things, because it was definitely helping us with power struggles.
Sure.
To have your lane and not, have any conflict because of that. But
I love how you're leading me right into the next part of my outline, because I feel like a lot of people out there, as fans of music and specifically of artists, right, fail to look at artists as humans, right? Like you're a star, you're a singer, you're a songwriter, you're who I hear on the radio, who I see up on the stage. But I mean, you are people. You're a mom, he's a dad, you're a husband and wife, and all of those things come first, right? And family always comes first, I imagine.
Oh, yeah. That was easy.
Yeah. So I would love to hear you talk a little bit about balancing those kinds of things, because you and Bruce were on the road together. You're doing duo shows. You're writing together or apart. You're producing. You're recording. You're doing all of those things. But you also have children, and you also have a relationship with each other. So how do you keep those things separate and actually make sure everything gets the attention that it deserves to have?
Well, for me, the easy part was that I knew the kids were the priority.
Sure.
So that came first. And then after that, so I would make sure that I just couldn't go out on the road like I did before. So I would say the longest I could go out would be 5 days. And if I did that, then I needed to be home for 2 weeks after.
Yeah.
Before I could go out and do another 5 days. So that was the way I had to, we had to limit touring. For many years, before we were a duo, it was a little easier because Bruce would do a gig and I'd be home, and then I'd do a gig and he'd be home. Mm-hmm. We would try to really not work on the same nights.
Sure.
But then once we went all in together, that was really hard. And thank God he'd had some hit songs because it helped us pay for the nanny to stay overnight sometimes. But it was a lot. And so it was really helpful that the two of us had the same desires and for our life, the way we wanted to be creative artists. We understood how it had to be for each other, and we're able to do that for each other. But it was hard because you get home from a gig at 2:30 or something, and then who knows when the baby's gonna wake up. Mm-hmm. But you're gonna have to get up at 6 for sure.
And it's not like you're 9 to 5 either, right? You're not getting a guaranteed paycheck. You're not getting guaranteed health insurance. You have to continuously chase the carrot to keep people fed. So somebody has to chase that carrot.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's just at one point I tried to retire. I think maybe after I had the twins. So I was like, I'm retiring, everybody. And then I realized a few months in that like singing and performing was my lifeline, and I needed it. Like
Yeah,
it
you
was
can't
my-
turn off creativity. It's impossible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just was like, I love you babies, but now working was like playing.
Yep. Yeah, it's that's the quickest way to bring on misery is to push away your creativity.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the Wonder Women of Country. This is something
Yeah.
that's sort of recent, right? With you and Brendan Lee and Melissa Carper. This has
Yeah.
to be hugely passionate for you, right?
It is without a doubt my favorite band I've ever been in. I'm having so much fun with them for so many reasons. But yeah, it's fabulous.
That's amazing. I wanted to. I'm sure you know this, but being so humble, you may not even acknowledge it. But you are such a trailblazer for other women in country music, especially in the Southwest. I think you know that. But do you own that? And if so, like, how do you mentor younger women that are coming into the genre, behind you?
That still feels really new to me to figure out how to be helpful or supportive, because in my head, I'm still 23 and
Yeah.
terrified.
Yeah.
But I have intentionally been trying to go hear people and tell people about other artists and just engage with other younger musicians more than I did before. But no, I was talking to, I do remember when I first started in Nashville that Emmy Lou came out to a show and was, supportive. And then any other time I would play with her, she would remember my name. And she would say, keep going, or,
Mm-hmm.
that was very meaningful and important to me. And I know many other women who felt the same kind of support from her. And so I try to remember her,
Yeah.
doing that and try to, not being anywhere near her level of anything, but just to kind of embody some of that grace and support that she gave.
Well, I've been very blessed to have lots of ladies here on the show, and I'm a huge champion of women in music. And I can't tell you how many times your name has come out from the girls when talking about their heroes and especially Texas music. So
Wow,
I just wanted to hear your reaction from that and
that's really nice.
kind of give you your flowers on that.
Thank you.
Anyway, we do have some fun segments we're going to get into with Kelly, and then we'll let her get on her way. These are like little shorts and reels that we put out before the episode.
Okay.
So they're kind of short in nature and little segments. The first one is called Did You Know? Can you tell us something that folks may not know about you?
Well, I'm a big Star Trek fan.
Really? A Trekkie?
I'm a Trekkie. I'm a Star Trek nerd. I was just watching the Strange New Worlds episodes today. Late getting to the new season, but
Does that mean you're anti-Star Wars, too? Because a lot of folks are one or the other, right?
I wouldn't say I'm anti-Star Wars, but I'm not as into it because it's a whole different thing.
Yeah.
It's more of an action-adventure story, right? Where Star Trek is cool little...
See, I'm not much into sci-fi, but my wife is. My wife is like a fantasy author and everything, so
nice.
she's huge into Star Trek and not really into Star Wars. And I asked her, I said, why? I mean, to me as an outsider, they seem pretty similar, right? But they're not, apparently.
They're very different.
She said Star Trek is for adults and Star Wars is for kids, and that's how you can look at it.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, so
I mean, but we're all, you can be older and kid-like, but they're kind of fun, but
yeah.
they're not these morality, these problems that humans need to solve, or
And that's what she loves about it. Yeah, she mentioned that about Star Trek. Her anxiety is not on edge all the time because it just is. It just is. Right? That's how she puts it. Mount Rushmore is my next segment. This is going to be interesting coming from you. Who is on your Mount Rushmore of songwriting? So the 4 best songwriters, in your opinion, of all time.
Wow. Okay. Ooh, that's so hard. That's so
It is,
mean.
indeed.
Um, okay. Well, Lucinda Williams. Um, um, Walter Hyatt from Uncle Walter's Band. Let's see. Oh gosh, I've got to come up with 2 more.
Yep.
I'm like, I can't even think of a single songwriter now. Maybe Townes Van Zandt, maybe.
There you go. That's a songwriter.
Yeah, and let's see. Let's see. I'm gonna come up with one. Hold on.
Are you mentally crossing off names? Is that what's happening right now?
Yes. Of course, I'm going to be mad because I'm going to have left off somebody who is an obvious favorite of mine or something. So I don't know.
Well, Mount Rushmores can change day by day, so
That's true.
yeah.
Obviously Bob Dylan,
All right.
right?
There
I'll
we
put Bob
go.
Dylan up there.
That's a good one. All right, next segment is called What the Heck. These are 5 rapid fire questions, but you have to answer the first thing that comes to your brain. So no change in your answer mentally, okay?
I'll try.
All right, here we go. I have a list of 50 questions here I'm just going to pull randomly from.
Okay.
All right, first one, number 1. Where do squirrels go during hurricanes, do you think?
During a hurricane?
Yeah.
Inside the trees? In like a tree hole that floats?
Tree hole that floats. Let's go. Okay, that's why we call it What the Heck. All right, number 2. Which superpower do you wish you had?
Oh, flying.
So you can
Love
save all
flying.
the squirrels, right?
Yes, I could save them all.
All right. By the way, spoiler alert, Superman saves a squirrel in the newest Superman.
I did see that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Crazy
weird.
how that just worked
That
here
is
on the
so
show.
weird.
Yeah. All right, number 3. What is your best curse word alternative?
Oh, I say dag nabbit.
Dag nabbit.
What?
All right. that's the southern curse word alternative. That and cotton picking, right?
Yes.
All right, number 4. What is no big deal for most people but absolute torture to you?
Oh. I don't know. Maybe I think it's hard for everybody to go to a party,
Yeah.
right? That's torture for everybody.
I'd say everybody over age 40, it's torture. Yeah. Or maybe 35, or maybe 30. I don't know. Yeah. No, I feel that so much.
Yeah.
Like, I could go to a show that I'm looking forward to the point where 6 months in advance I'll have tickets to it, and I'm so excited about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll get there, and I'll hear 2 or 3 songs, and I'm ready to go home. And,
Oh.
and it could literally be my favorite artist ever, and it's just...
Right, but then you're just tired. You're like,
Yes, yeah, because I think I've just, like, I've been waiting for it so long, like the build up. I don't know. I think it's
for me,
age.
it's the social aspect of the party where I have to talk to a lot of people about
Yeah.
little things.
And then you have to re-energize, right? It takes you days and days and days.
I would rather just have I like a small gathering of like a little dinner party size of people that it's real easy to be with. I don't want to
Agreed. I like that. Okay, last one, number 5. Let's do something a little more meaningful. How about what are you most afraid of? That's a good one.
Ooh. At this point now, I'm starting to get afraid of not being healthy, aging and not aging well, like not being healthy enough and strong enough. That's the point in my life now where I'm starting to go. Like I never ever thought about what my life would be like at this age.
Right.
And so now I'm starting to think, well, what will my life be like 20 years from now if I'm lucky enough to still be alive? So I'm trying to get a jump on that and be strong.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I work out all the time just to be strong, not to be skinny or anything. It's just
Right.
so that I'm strong, because that scares me.
Yeah, I understand that fully. Mortality, right?
Yeah.
Essentially, yeah. I'm there with you. All right, next one. Next segment is called One Artist. Who is one artist you wish the whole world knew about other than yourself?
Well, I've loved Uncle Walt's band. That's always been my favorite band. But you know, I've been playing and singing with both Brennan Lee and Melissa Carper, are incredible songwriters and storytellers and musicians. And so either of those women need to be getting way more attention. They're both just performing with them. Like, you hear people's records and you think, you know, and then but performing on stage with them and hearing them present their songs and talk and tell their talent just blows me away. And maybe either or both of those women.
That's just an incredible feeling, isn't it? When you hear somebody else's passion just, oh man, that's why I'm such a huge fan of storytellers in music, man. It's just, it's second to none, really truly is.
And it's so funny because Brennan will tell these really interesting, thoughtful, intelligent stories before she sings the song. And then you get to me and I'm like, well, there's another one about drinking beer, you know, or having my heart broke. Like, I'm not doing that. It's a whole different talent. It's so impressive.
I'm so happy that that's kind of doing well now, right? That roots kind of music, that unpolished, raw, like real vulnerable kind of music, man. I love that that's kind of making a comeback. Huge. The singer-songwriter vibe, I guess, is what they're calling it. What's on your wish list of things you still want to do?
I still want to travel. I want to go to, I've never been to Italy or Greece. I really want to go there to play or just to have fun. I don't know. But I still really, I want to make another solo record, at least one more solo record. And I have, you know, half of it ready to go in the studio with.
Is every record your last record?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I can't. Oh my God, it's exhausting thinking about moving beyond one more. Oh.
I love that. All right, what's the biggest lesson you've learned directly from music, do you think?
Oh gosh, how much how healing it is for everyone, how really important it is to everyone, how meaningful, what a huge role it plays in all of our lives, gives us someone to cry with or laugh with when we're alone, you know, and that going out to hear live music and being a part of the community of people that do that, because not everybody does that.
No.
How life affirming it is to be a part of this community. Like, after every show, you know, I talk to people and it's just makes you humble and grateful to be able to connect with other people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're all kind of isolated, and it's this wonderful way to connect.
Not bad for that girl with social anxiety, right?
For sure.
Yeah, I love it. All right, next one's called Moment of Gravity. So I feel like every person in their life has that moment in time that you can kind of reflect back to and say, that is when I started my trek to the path I'm on now. Can you kind of see what that was for you?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I at least have a moment that was big personally in my career.
Sure.
Where I was going to play New York City one night and I was really scared. And I decided I never do this, but I was like, you know, maybe I'll meditate. And I thought, okay, I'm going to meditate and I'm going to envision, what I hope for the night. And I started thinking about it, and somehow it occurred to me that all I needed to do, that all the people at this show were there because they wanted to be there. It was some positive thing. So that all I needed to do was reflect back what was being given to me. That was my only job.
Meeting energy, right?
Yes. And to give the love that I was receiving, and that if I just did that, everything would be fine. And that was a huge turning point for me, to recognize that because I used to be so scared, and to recognize that no one is coming there with negative energy for me. Everybody wants it to go well.
Mm-hmm.
No one wants to see me fail. Like that's people are uncomfortable if that happens. My sister still can't come to a show because she's nervous. I'll do something that, I'll forget lyrics or something, and she'll feel so bad for me.
Yeah.
So just there's just people coming out to give love, and that I'm just going to reflect it back. And
Yeah. That's why we pay tickets, right? Because they're not going to pay tickets to come in and boo you.
right. For a long time, I thought maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe that's it.
It's not the internet, Kelly. Come on. All right. Next one's called Grateful. What are the 3 things you're most grateful for?
Let's see. I'm, of course, grateful for being a mother. With that, having my kids has been a huge gift. I have to have 3 things I'm grateful for.
3 things. Come on. You can just make something up.
I'm grateful for
Stuffing with my turkey. And,
what do other people say they're grateful for?
friends, family, my music, my health, God. Yeah.
No, none of those. Just kidding.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I'm grateful for friends too, especially at this point in life, with all my kids having moved out, and I'm an empty nester.
Wow. Yeah.
And I'm rekindling friendship, and getting out there. And
How's that for an army brat, somebody that had to keep making new friends over and over again?
yeah, I never really nailed that skill, so
Yeah.
I feel lucky that there are a couple of people out there that put up with my awkwardness.
I was going to say put up with you. That's exactly how I feel about it. I got a few people out there that put up with me, and then the rest don't get me at all.
That's their problem.
Yep, exactly right. Okay, last segment is called Who Do You Think You Are? Who is Kelly Willis?
Well, I don't know. Oh my God, back in January, I hurt my voice, and I thought that I might not get to sing again anymore. And it really scared me, because suddenly I realized that not only was I not just this person who I'd been my entire adult life, but I wasn't part of the club anymore. I wasn't part of this world of people that do this for a living. And this is what I'm grateful for, that my
Here it
voice,
comes, see?
my voice healed, and I'm able to sing again.
Yep.
And able to be part of this really fun, unpredictable, kind of video game life where you're constantly trying to solve the next problem in order to put the show on. It's just such a treat, such a gift to get to live like that.
Sometimes you need that reminder, right, to not take the most precious things for granted, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I guess I feel like I am a singer. That's what I am.
Yeah. Man, it's been such a treat to chat with you tonight, Kelly, and
Thank you.
I appreciate you for doing this. I'm going to tell folks where they can follow along, and It's kellywillis.com. We're going to put that in the description down below. So you guys click on that. You're going to find all of her awesomeness there, including her social medias, which I'm going to recap here in a minute. But you're also going to find her merch. She is a full-time musician, so she's still touring. She's still bringing the music directly to a town near you. You can also find copies of the music on her webpage. All of it, all of the records. Every one of them was the last one, so make sure you're getting on there. The social medias are pretty simple. It's Kelly Willis KW everywhere. So at Kelly Willis KW, follow along everywhere. And you're pretty, I mean, you do your own social media. You're pretty active as well. Just about every day you're on there. And she does respond. I am proof of that. So I appreciate you so much, Kelly. Thanks for doing this.
Thank you. I'm so grateful to you. This is really, really nice.
Hi, T.G. Shepherd here, and thanks so much for tuning in to my friend, Boston Chris, right here on this show.
It's time to